Give me about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes. Wow. This is crazy. Well, we got 4 in here. Make sure we get them thumbs up. It's going to be a good one. Gun scrap. I support everybody, except for trolls. I've got my headphones here on charge, so this should be good now. Somebody hacked my Facebook account, so I'm changing my password. Oh, this is impossible. Okay. Let's see here. Is that good? Let me see. Let's see. Good stuff, me. I'm all the way up. What in the hell is that playing? It's I know it's a little dark. This is where it is. What's going on, family? So it's in stuff. So say something. Let me see if I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Please, bro, Robo.
Let me turn it up. Let me make sure it's all the way up. And that's up. I don't hear you, brother.
Can you hear me?
I don't know why. The mic is on, right?
I can hear you.
I can't hear shit. It's weird. Excuse my language. Let me go ahead and check my mic out. Audio's up. Ah, it's not picking me up. What the hell is that? You know what? Let me turn this off because I can hear you guys without this. It should be picking me up.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You know what? Right now, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Say something. Someone Bluetooth headset.
I can hear you.
This is not cool. Let's see. You messing with me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I don't think you can hear me though.
All right. I can hear you now. Let me turn this shit off. This thing is dead. I gotta charge it up. Yeah, it's dead. I don't want to connect. Let me charge this up. It should be charged, but you know what? I had it off for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. When I was downstairs utilizing it. Yeah, it's dead. Then a door now. Say something.
Please, bro, Robo, you can hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, brother. Yeah, it's gonna be a little low. I could put it on my LB4 charge, which car, but I'm not gonna do that. I could plug in my other headset, but unnecessary. So, appreciate those who have come in. I shared it with other people. Let me drink this down. This is my cachava chocolate. I ordered a vanilla and I see. With coconut water. Excellent. I'm probably going to go to 2 of those a day and maybe a salad for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, depending on what it's going to look like. Well, I have this idea, and I have my pencil and stuff. I'm just going to take notes on the back of a little letter I have here. Just some little notes for people's input once I give you a little layout. I want to attempt to give the layout keep the layout as small as possible. But we're looking at 2035, hypothetical. Okay, I don't want your main friend to be on what's happening right now, yet it circumvents all of that. Now, in the screenwriting, I'm looking at what's happening in California with the reparations. And I was sitting here for the last few days, I've sat here when I was reading or just having moments to think alone. If I had a good woman, now I can have a woman in here, a good woman beside me, she would give me a little, you know what I'm saying? Because I always throw ideas out. I always pitch them at my ex-wives and everybody. They were never really about, you know what I mean? If they had their heads together, we'd be millionaires long before all this crap came about. I could do it on my own. I think to be honorable in self, I have to walk a certain way. Knowing my ancestors' history and heritage, what they accomplished, what they've done. When I tell you about my great-great-great-great-grandfather, Henry Lucifer Schaus, he murdered, I think, 2 or 3 Pelskins. He came on the property. The whole town wants to sell him, and they locked him up, and he was a chef and blah 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 blah. Very tall, very big man, and to kill off the Indian. And though he had a Dutch heritage, and we have Chinese married into a family, that didn't matter. You would think those things would implicate the meaning of something now. If I chose to be in those circles of the higher elite, walk the line of my uncle who passed away some years ago, be a Mason, okay? I probably would be living a different life. I'd probably be more involved, and maybe even a hidden patsy for something. I chose otherwise. To even before I would even walk into that light. No, we believe that you have to be in the limelight, or you have to create this ideology of becoming from a UBC, a black a BCU, a black college or university, whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about. I hate giving energy to things. That I had to continue to play football, boxing, or whatever. And I went to the military to get away from it all because I saw so much crazy. And I was part of that crazy, and I wanted to get away from it. I believe going into movies or Nightmare on Elm Street college scenes, stand-ins, classrooms. Yes, I'm in a couple of those classroom scenes. Some of them that were cut away. Nightmare on Elm Street. I lived with my uncle around the block, Walnut, from Elm Street, where it was filmed. I also lived on Lexus Avenue, the second one when it was made. My uncle high school was a school. I was school performing arts. I says, you know what? One day I'll circle back around to all this. Meeting some wonderful writers, people who have stuff, material stolen from them. You know, um, and then all the attempts of my life. I say that, and I don't placate when I say that. It doesn't mean anything that they think they're hidden. They're not. I deal with certain individuals that, even with all the smart stuff, they will never know. They have ways of reaching out to me and conversing, and letting me know things, and I've expanded and expressed that. I've been breaking down the history of the Masonic Order was to keep the old world hidden from everybody else, and to establish a setup for new individuals who didn't know no better. Even if they found out the lines they came from, to create a new royalty that has nothing to do with royalty at all, but to establish the grounds for something or someone or it to be in position. And y'all are pretty much seeing that unfold. If you pay anything to the World Economic Forums and all that stuff, you will see that for yourself. So the reparations part, now I've conversed with just two individuals, and I've researched as much as I can without making it known on these friggin' platforms, which they look at everything. And I said, wow, let's say 2035, reparations are given. Now, there's a whole story before all this, whether it's playing in the neighborhood, gunshots, someone's murdered, police, fire departments, George Floyd type scenarios, Sean Bell, whatever, Ablo Diab, playing out in the movie that comes to the summit of people demanding, whether it's city town hall meetings, congressional hearings, and it being established that you gave all these people money, from the Japanese concentration camps in World War II to the Germans supposedly who came here to build NASA and a nuclear bomb, blah, 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 and all the hidden agendas behind it, and the scientists who are hand selected because they are tired of what they see in their dilapidated or their arrogant ignorance of self-hate of their own kind. Now, I read books, and you know this, and you know that I share these things. The point of the matter is that through the whole dialect of the scenario of the story, the screenwriting, they get to the point where after everybody and maybe 4 or 5 families are part of this, there are millions of people who are ready to leave based upon false history, and then the Negroes laughing and jokingly behind with consortiums of other people to propagate the removal of the actual Aboriginal, and even with inserts in this dialect throughout the movie every 20, 15 minutes of Martin Luther King's famed speech, and who we find the Negro languishing in the corners of his own society, and Malcolm X on his return from Africa in Harlem saying, you and I are Negro, are Aboriginals, but you don't want to be called that, alluding to the fact that you want to be everything other than what you want, who you were, by way of, we call, establishing the New World Order. And the fact that now, all of a sudden, after giving gay rights, securing, this is not to knock anything that's going on. This is in the screenwriting, the storyline, giving everybody gay rights, consensual sex between a minor and elder, if you want to call it pedophilia, same-sex marriages, the only anti-Asian crime bills, more Mexicans and Arab Mexicans and others by the name entitled Into the Soil, to disperse the still standing Aborigines, regardless of 16 generations of whatever, because pre mud flood, everybody got along just fine. There was no payment, no system of that. To incorporate that, even in certain readings, and certain young ones going to libraries and finding these sources of information as they look at their families, calling themselves other things. And this is a dialectic through the whole thing that's based on constraint and admiralty for certain things that are happening. But we get to a point where it's too late. The families accept the reparations. And one of the key factors is you have to leave the land, because they have established and created, through whether it's pandemics, sicknesses and diseases or whatever, crashing of economies, no more, hardly no food, to go to a place in the dialect of the movie settings that these places are better off, that these same things are happening over there. And now with the millions of dollars in these countries that may or may not exist, the dollar is worthless. So they embark on this voyage on all these ships, cargo ships and everything, built out to hold the families, to transfer them to their new lands, when all they knew was this land. And there is an end line to this, a very end that could be very upsetting, infuriating, caustic, destructive, and diabolical, but how to deliver on it without saying what the end is. And you could pretty much get that when it's the statement by old decrees of we must kill off the Indian first, remove them from the land by changing the history in wars. I just want to know, what are your feelings without me giving the complete punchlines, and anybody can take that and run with it and create something. This is like a poor man's copyright. Like if you still mail something, you create something, mail it to yourself, first class, you sign for it. Therefore, in that date and time, it's yours. This is a date stamp saying that if anybody comes up with this idea, goes out there, I'm going to pursue them because this is my idea. Now, with that being said and done, litigation-wise, based on the color of their law, and the sound law of me not making an agreement with anybody to take this and run with it, but to share this, to have people to be able to have input and then to contribute and be part of this dialect would be a stated fact, as those who be paramount in this as I'm writing, and the inputs that I would take from individuals. I know there's not a lot that's going to come over because there's so much more of importance. Earlier today, somebody shared with me because he heard what I said in one of my videos. Somebody I don't know shared it, on my Gmail, and it says it's funny how people will watch this young man talking about these people setting somebody up, and he's got over 400,000, and in 8 days he's got over 48,000 views, and here you are talking paramount things that are not just predictable, but based upon facts, or maybe relevant to somebody looking into something. He says, I'm going to be with you. And if you're in here watching, if you come in or you see this later, I appreciate you, brother. He says, I'm amazed at how confused so many people are. Big Pontiac, what's happening, brother? I was hoping you came back the other night, but I appreciate you. I love you, brother. I'm going to do the screen right, and any ideas that may come up, because we're talking like a ooh child type thing, like the kids, the park, the police, the regular ongoings, keep the norm, the reparation discussions between certain fictional characters. We can't use the individuals because I haven't written anything yet. The idea is still plastered here. I really want to get deep into writing this as a screenwriter, as I did when I was in college, when I was taking acting classes and taking what's called writing and all that stuff. I really want to get balls deep, and I want to write every day until I get to the exact end, which would be, I would say, the phenomenal explosion that would have everybody sit back in their seat. You see what I'm saying? You could guesstimate, but trust me, you will never fathom how it will play out. The end part, I have it totally in my head, and I have the beginning. I have it first with snidbits of reparations being discussed. All right, King Mitchie, what's happening, family? And then it would have to be the whole dialectic of what's happening in the regular world of life that as we see it, which we know is chaotic. You know what we say about chaos, or order out of chaos. You know what I mean? Which
There's no such thing. And reparations being one of those symptoms that is problematic, but can be seen as order out of chaos. But the ending would lay waste to that and give another dialectic that would push back to the agendas of old. You get where I'm coming from? So I have bubbles, I have squares, literally to put input certain little things to then lay out and say, as a screenwriter, whether it's 30 pages to be incorporated with 400 later or maybe 200. Screenwriters are phenomenal in doing that, but it must be the visionary. And my vision is what we see right now, what has been playing out, looking at 2035 as a year. It can be any time. We're going to look at that and play on from the scenes of kids playing in the park, jungle gyms, the basketball courts, guys doing chin-ups in a little workout area, whether it be in Brooklyn, New York, till we shoot over to Sacramento, California, and we see the guys hanging out in the park. We see the regular guys doing their business. We see the police bearing down the home, methanol, amphetamines, to border crossings, reestablishing certain things, a different president, secret meetings, and what's being played out on, hey, Rob Bell, what's going on, beloved? Seeing certain things play out on the screen, as well, everybody receiving their card with their $25 million apiece and boarding the ships to head to Africa. The catch is what happens on that voyage, yet it has to play it's got to be dynamic, how it got to a certain point where the inhabitants of this land of origin have finally circumvented those who have pushed it, whether it be in churches, the deep discussions, the meetings, even the secret meetings with rabbis or whoever, people playing these roles in the screenwriting and the conversations, the communications that lament the dispersal of the original inhabitants and how it plays out at the very end, which in my head is shocking. Some would say it's very destructive. Some would say, is it possible? You see what I'm saying? To grasp the minds, to relegate them to another theory of thought that transponds to the ongoings. So we keep it with a little surrealism, relationship between what we have all dealt with and circumventing or navigating the possibilities of belief in something good and finding out that they've been ostracized and it is not exactly what they thought. Anybody else want to join in? I am literally asking you guys, not begging, asking you guys for your input so that way I can start shorthanding a number of things, and it doesn't have to be 1,000. So that way I can start putting together and taking my time and writing this out with whether it be Susie says to her brother, or, you know what I'm saying, the whole conversation and the husband and the wife, the communication of relevant, even mentioning certain individuals, what Dane said, or, you know what I'm saying, or so-and-so expressed this. Where'd you get that information from? It's foolishness. The church says, the da-da-da says, certain individuals to play certain roles, ask, of course, and I mean something that is very dramatic that can have people asking a question, and a serious one, based upon this, what would stun them being the end. Because everything laid out prior it can allude to something that's going on. We're looking at a different time period. Okay? We're alleging at the same time, we're doing what they did in the movies in history. A rewrite based on what is happening right now, because we are dealing with an end time situation. It's alleged. Do you get where I'm coming from? So if anybody wants to come in and chime in, and I will make notations and incrementally make sure that all is compiled, even from the debates on 42nd Street, between the um, Egypt Black African American narrative to the Aboriginals, whether it be Turtle Gang or whoever. Snippets from that, asked, of course, to England, the communications in the parks, to Australia, what is really going on compared to what is being delivered and seen. Because doing that whole thing, I watched about 12 individuals on YouTube, just to give it a little idea, showing something else not being played out as stated by media, and then media's role as well, whether they're eclectic in their part or not, or maybe a few. Everything, I believe, needs to be touched on, but cautiously and carefully. And I figured, hey, if I'm going to write it, why not ask people in our community, our family, who knows that we didn't come from somewhere, how we got to this point, whether it be the seven deadly sins, greed, gluttony, blah, 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 people being ostracized, certain murders being played out more than other murders happening, the whole the whole thing, from families sitting down watching the news daily to first further misrepresentation or representation, those who believe because they actually believe, and those who question because they're unsure. I really want to write this. I'm going to write it, actually, but to have others' input would be wonderful. I am just so tired of everybody believing they could do this and they could do that and they could change this, they could change that. When yesterday I dropped a hard nail saying we are the Republic of Terror, to eradicate all this stuff that we seem to be infighting with. And we had OG Green Machine come on, ex-Army. I don't know if he was sipping, a good brother of ours, who I think did exactly what was required to be the objective, conscientious. And I love that because it made me more aware that there are other influences outside of norm, whether it be one of us smoking some weed and laying back looking at a plane fly overhead and saying, man, I think this is all BS, blah, blah, blah. The whole parameter, and then finding what we can use and then what we need to dismiss. We need to add and that which we need to dismiss in order for the screenwrite to be something that someone can say, I want to make a movie of this. And then what can be turned and changed. I'm an actor. I can play any role. Do I want to do that? No, I don't want to be Puff Daddy all up in the video. I would like to be behind the lens screen with those who are professionals at it saying, this is the vision. This is what I see. And from the people who I've communicated with, who gave me a couple of insights laid out while we can. That's without me using my family's history and where I've been and where I've come from. Because that may make people go, oh, well, we got to go and watch Red Wolf because, his uncle was in, and when all I did was be in a couple of movies and was a breakdancer and said I didn't want to watch this life because it's too crazy. I don't like the fame. I don't care about the dollar. I want the whole world back because the whole world was perfect. And there's a lot of lies that will be up front in the screenwriting. So we don't have to worry about a movie, screenwriting and people's input. So I can say this is not just me. This is what people's input on what they see based on fiction coming from a real life scenario. So could you say, like I said, surrealism, reality based, but a drama that occurs more towards fiction. So that it's a safe demographic that we're playing in. Do y'all feel me? Anybody's welcome to come in. Just the StreamYard thing's there. And I said yesterday, don't be afraid to come up and voice your opinion and sit there like a bump on a log, and everybody's always got something to say. And here it is. Again, I'm doing something outside of the box nobody else is talking about. I reached out to Jesse McCullough, who does film. He's working you've met my Uncle John Amos. He's worked with all these other people, and he is so big on this Hebrew, African American, the indigenous here. He's so confused, and yet he has the tools. I believe this will always, and while we're still dealing with this, because you know they're working hard to change that, we can change the narrative. The children are important. What are you willing to do as an adult, man and woman? I feel like I'm begging here. This is ridiculous. I guess some of y'all think we're equal, right? Is that what it is? Let me tell you something. You know what we're equal at? We walk on 2 legs, 10 toes down if you still have it on your toes, 10 fingers, and we shove a bunch of crap in our mouths and we poop it out our behinds. I am asking for y'all's assistance, and I'm not begging you. So if you want to stand up, woman and man up, and come on in as a guest and throw your thoughts in, it would be wonderful. But other than that, you always got something to say, because I watch everybody's videos, I watch everybody's lives, I watch everything. And here it is a time when I'm calling you all out and asking you all to put a little input. You can't even stand the fuck up and do that right now. Pathetic. Cowards. Rhonda, I know you got some insight. Just hold on to that. Pathetic. Be the same, and we're not Negroes, Negresses, or black, or none of that. We're not even Indians. We're so much more. And here it is: the Negroes and Negresses, the Indians, the Injuns, and everybody else don't know what to say. I'm not smarter than any of you, and you're definitely not smarter than me. They're coming in, they're running away. Just run, baby, run. Damn shame. I thought y'all's interest would be something instead of piousness. And now I go on the platform and talk 2A and amendments and everything else, and everybody's communicating. I can talk about some garbage and some craziness. And I am willing to take a notebook, take some notes, and put together a screenplay. I'm not here I don't need to get rich. I got an older daughter. She watches all these. And I can sit there and go, you know what, baby girl, drop the $2 million in my account. I'm going to get this land. Everybody kiss my ass. Instead of doing the fishing that I see everybody doing, and in their own little arrogant, ignorant way, because they have not freed themselves. And I looked in the mirror, they haven't learned how to breathe. They have subjugated themselves to be comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I'm comfortable in me. I'm not comfortable in this friggin' this box. I am comfortable. So this weighs nothing. I practice breathing. I practice further enlightenment, raising of not the habitual ignorance of the world we deal with, but I seek outside while looking inside, because I realize the good in me wants for better. Will always want for better, regardless. So based on what you've heard, anybody have any input they want to give? How it should be tread with? What do you think about what the family should be? Should it be a religious family, a Christian, a Muslim family? Should it be those who are Buddhists, atheists, the gays in the picture, the everybody involved, the circle of life we are indulged with, and how will it play out as far as the reparations part, and getting to the reality of why all of a sudden it is being thought to be given, and yet we are acclimated to a time that's a little far off by about 13 years. It's not complicated, is it? Really, roughly 12 for those who believe in this time frame. Looking at the month we're in, I think it would be a great thing. And then we could follow it up. I could do a screen right after that, the aftermath of what we thought. This is what happened. This is what occurred. Keep a storyline going based on the possibilities. And yes, I'm stemming this off of an old story called The Pale Wolf and the Dark Wolf. To be able to relinquish something and give up a little something, I guess you could say another cup of tea. I might not be here next year. Half of us might not be. So I can start it at least. Excuse me. Why don't you hurt yourself, right? You are something else, man. Bro. You gotta chew on the thing. You gotta choke on it. Try to carry it down the stairs. That was crazy. You know that. Just leave it right there. Alexander's like, he's got my gun belt. Like, he's pulling it. Like, I'm not leaving yet, bro. He's something else. Anybody? Ra? RL? King Benji? Big Pontiac, if you're still here, this is not about crayon colors, people. This is about us, the original people of this earth. But regardless of what you believe or don't believe, I'm literally asking for your input as far as doing a screenwriting. I have a bank account. Nobody's donated no money. It's just $150 sitting there looking at me like I'm retarded for land. You don't care about land. Everybody's selfish. Everybody thinks you're going to accomplish something on their own. I'm going to let you know something. If you didn't serve 38 years in the military, if you didn't get $180,000, at 180% service connected, if you didn't save your money, if you don't know how to farm, if you didn't do the right thing when you retired, you can't get no land. Even though there's free land out there, you wouldn't know what to do with that dry piece of land that is free. So, seeing how you didn't do anything, I guess you're going to sit there and wait, like the cattle being led up the ramp into the slaughterhouse. Is that what it is? Okay. I just wanted to do a screen, right? I guess I'm just going to do it on my own. Nobody has any input because y'all so, what they call it, talentedly wasteful. And I know some people are going to hit me up, you're so smart though. And, no, everybody's super intelligent. Just been misled and misguided. Everybody is full of light. Everybody is full of gusto. Everybody is informative. I'm asking y'all to step out of your comfort zone of uncomfort and do something different. I guess I'm asking too much. Think on it for a minute, and if you have something you would like to have me incorporate, look at, further discuss with you, and I can get more in depth talking to y'all each personally about this. I figured this would be a great platform without giving away too much, because can't nobody steal nothing from us. Not no more. If I see anybody make a movie or put anything up on TV, I'll sue them. This is recording. I will sue the living socks off and the drawers off of their ass. Well, I guess I need to be the cowboy that I am. What do you think, Rondo?
Sound like it's hitting close to home. That sounds kind of realistic to me. You tell me the idea.
What do you think about the placement, like as far as like starting the screenwriting? Do you think it should start off with like last week, or was it the week before? Big Pontiac, you might know this better than any of us. What was the date? What was that day that Mr. What's his name? I get his, what is his name? I don't want to look it up. Was having a conversation in a congressional hearing about the reparations and the fact that it's a very strong possibility that they have pretty much signed on for that. Y'all, any of y'all know what I'm talking about?
Heard about it in California, but I don't recall who brought like the little.
It was like a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, or something like that. Like, and it's been ongoing. I'm gonna look into it. Don't worry. There's certain things that I have already noted that I need to research, but I want to use those as practice. Do you think that it would be beneficial to start off with that, like in the beginning? or start off with all the riots to burn, and then in the misty, I would say, uh, like it looks like ancient history playing out on the screen with the little lines going through it, like the old Godzilla, and then go right to like a news article and the families watching TV, like 5 households whose lives are going to play out on screen. That's why it's important to have the park, the workouts, Brooklyn, New York, Detroit, Philly, you know what I'm saying? And Florida, the different lives that are being mitigated. And the thing between the churches and the deep conversations over dinner tables with clergymen and so forth, rabbis, rabbinical, will there be everybody, and the Asians who stepped, because there are Asians who are in our corner. There's thousands of them, and they don't ever show that. Who are like, let the brothers, and I believe they're Aboriginals. I mean, you never see that. I've watched enough videos shared to me, and I've Googled, and I'm surprised to be able to play those things out in little cities. And a major disease. It doesn't have to be it could be something else hypothetical to lament everybody wanting to get away from here, even though it's playing out in the world. And as I said, how do you think? What do you think? Does it sound good to have that starting off that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that way I can have a little insight how I should start off the story. We zoom in, 5:15, congressional hearings. Mayoral candidate or government official, blah, 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 is making these statements. And then I write, by utilizing the information, I don't paraphrase, not verbatim, but paraphrase what is being stated. And then we shoot away to families going to their Sunday services and hearing certain pastors pushing, go back to Africa. And then go to the streets where these Sonnet conversations are still happening with the Egyptians, back to Africa, and certain individuals. I gotta be very careful. I can't just go throwing people's names around. You know what I'm saying? In the screenwrite, they have to be characters. I have to use characters all the way around. And I have to be careful of how I write it to not put people in the fire based upon the end of the story. You know what I'm saying? Where they say, I don't want no part of that. You're talking about me. Everything paraphrased or you see what I'm saying? How do you think I should start it off?
I think in addition to those, you could do some where it's not based on any character or any character.
Speak up a little more, brother. Hold on. Let me turn my vent off. Say that again.
I was saying like some of it could be where you're not calling anybody out specifically, but it could be like for instance, like a school setting where you can show like videos on the screen of things in the past that happened, and they're showing it to the kids, and they're internalizing it and they're taking it back home to their parents. That to not call people out too much, but it could be like stuff that people said because it's 22, everybody's got a smartphone now, so it could be like that.
Okay. So that and lament even about certain communities. What about certain communities and how they feel about it? Seeing how we had to deal with the Antifa, Black Lives Matter, blah blah, and now they call it the Aboriginal movement, Rainbow, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The gay community, those who feel ostracized and have been lashing out, whether it be the millennials, Z Nation, Z, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to have a constraint and put everybody into a certain pocket to be able to deliver a storyline. I can't just hit everybody with a whole slew of one thing and then turn around and give them a little bit of something over here, because then everybody was going, well, what did they think when this was all going on? What was going on with the family? I must keep things in normalcy, as in real life living and events with police carrying out certain individuals, because we have a lot of things right now where police are checking other police officers saying, no, we don't do that. They have a First Amendment. All the way to the point where even the presidents, let's say we use a scene where Trump says, let's remove the Constitution, but he wasn't saying it the way it's being played out. He was saying, seeing how the liberals don't want to abide by the Constitution, well, let's just freaking get rid of it. He was being sarcastic. If anybody paid attention, we can utilize those things because you see how people take stuff if the media puts it out and they runs with it. So if they are pushing this, it is obviously with an agenda. I want to be able to deliver on an agenda. First with the format, like you said, I think school would be wonderful after we get past the statement of reparations being concrete. The evidence of it saying that it's going to happen. At least in California with $257 billion or something like that, whatever the number was, that is what they decided there. Now, what about the rest of the world and how is it going to play out? I will incorporate the just little things for the mind's eye. I will incorporate things like the food shelves being half empty, the Second Amendment, those involved in those communities, without getting too hard political as far as the other agendas playing out. Remember, this is looking off, 12 years in a couple of months, 2035. We're looking at, you see what I'm saying? I'm not targeting it because I have insight. I'm just saying, I mean, it could happen next year. I don't know. But as far as the screenwrite, to get it lamented and wrote down. So I actually put those in right there because I like that. I like that. I actually do. And at the top, reparations, and we go to media, mini news, for those who don't know. All right, when I say that, because media could be anything. That will be an insert, and I believe that could be first or second, depending on if we want to have the clashes first, the turmoil, the screaming, the fires and everything, and then get to the point of why it was decided upon the reparations, because it has happened after all that. And tons of murders and plenty of police officers being fired and arrested and locked up, per se. Now, what about the churches? How can you see them playing a role in this whole Black diaspora, this African America new creation, this construct that is but what, 1985, though people say they want to allude it going back to 1917 something, when we know that, as George Orwell said, everything has changed and it's going to continue daily. So they can incorporate and make anything feasible, even in writings, because you can see old scripts where certain words didn't exist now in revisions. Because I want to keep it in the knowledge of knowing that they're leaving the land, all of Earth. They're being outsourced and don't even know it. And monetary reward is what we see. Don't think this is away from an indigenous narrative. This is all about that and a little more. We're talking about the Jannah and the Hawa. We're talking about the light and the dark. And the people who contract themselves to play or participate in a certain role in the whole demographic of it all. That'd be a top thing on the conscience. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to be able to look at this while you're reading it or seeing it on the screen, hypothetically, and saying, wait a minute. The little girl running to the store to pick up the cheese and the milk. Worst thing on the food, but we're not going to get into the dietary for her grandma. And then the shooting around the block and the same thing being played out where the bullet finds the little girl. And then the things that infuriates the churches, and they need to get away from the land, and You know what I'm saying? And then those of us who know these things happen, but we find the importance of fighting for the land, but how strong the will of those who are not in their knowing want to disembark here and go on and embark on a journey away from what they find, instead of fighting. Believe that the fight is going to a place that never existed. So what I wrote down was the delusion of disassociation. I just put that in parentheses. And another thing I wrote down in semicolon, eternal fight. That can mean that could be a broad meaning. I have a broad meaning. You see what I'm saying? Now, where would those be put at? I believe that would be the entire screenwriting. I'm saying screenwrite as if it was to be, it could be put on a screen. You could read like from a book to a screen, people. That's the reason why I said screenwriting, not a story, not something that's based on fantasy and just solely on fiction. Something that with a little surrealism, like I said again, whether you want to get into the artist Salvador Dahame or whoever. I'm saying looking at it and not just two-dimensional, one-dimensional, but having a 3 to 4th dimensional conceptualization. Another bubble. Hold on, let me tell you. Bubble, House of Congress, and the roles of congressional staff pertaining to reparations. Oh, this is real. This is real. Now we know that if we use 4 or 5 families, okay, we have the different 4 or 5 families playing their life roles throughout the country. Texas. I'm looking at Texas, New York. I'm looking at California. I'm looking at what's it called? Not Salt Lake.
Philadelphia,
Detroit, Louisiana, because there's a lot of brothers down there that the sisters think they're from Africa. So I'm looking at about 5 or 6. So I want to have those families, and the whole diorama be most of the story, how they get to the point where they accept, and all the people in those areas who decide we're going to embark on this journey. So I've got to be real tight on the stories. I have to come up with the families, the churches, the clergy, and how it plays out in a way that is not just captivating, but spellbinding. It has to be able to grab people. That's why the help is so important for me. I'm not so much. I'm more or less into the reality of the situations. Yet I want this to be where people can look at it and they can be subjugated to another narrative. I have to write this. I have to. I know some people are sitting there going, "You didn't have to be so hard and stern when he's coming out." I wanted to come on, but I'm scared. No, I need to get fire under your asses. Light a fire. You ever heard that when you're growing up? I'm gonna light a fire under your head, boy. Get it together now. You swing that axe right and chop that wood. What you doing in school? I'm gonna have to get that strap out. Something different. And the X generation, for those who believe in that, they need us gone. One way or the other. We're the most dangerous. We're thinkers. We're not so emotionally inept or apt. As we got older, we found, and not saying the X generation, I mean, not saying that the millennial haven't, because they're in their 30s and 40s now too. We're not saying that. We're saying that it's a period of time to play catch up. And there are some, even in the Z generation, who have locked on to our truth. But it's so small. I want to be able to deliver all of that in a way that is not constricting, that is not boring, that is not subjective. The whole thing is subjective, but not in the storyline. I want to be able to have those not capitulate, but to think. I don't want nobody to go, yeah, because we have too much of that now. Bandwagon leaders. I would like to have something that, and that's where my heart is. Man, something to think about. You know what I mean? Let me think. No, this thing's constricting my head, my blood flow. But what would you say about how do you feel about that? The little girl. We shoot to a scene. The little girl is, baby, Jasmine, could you go right now to the store and grab me some milk and some cheese? Just 2 houses away, the bodega. Okay, mommy. All right, the money's on the table, baby. Hurry up. Once you get home, it's early, safe. We cleared it out. Yet, a block away on that same corner she has to run to, there's some idiots shooting. And this could be a scene whether in Detroit, Chicago, LA, Louisiana, New York. It could be any one of those places with this one family with the shots ring out, and there's another story on the news. And along with that, it goes to the story of, and reparations to push the agenda. I'm saying something that is not just a catchphrase, but catches all eyes. And it stirs an emotion and feeling. And then from there, the family in another state saying, did you see that on the news about reparations? Did you see what happened to that little girl? Woo, my heart is with that family. And then a scene in the church. Yes, my beloved congregation. Poor little Jasmine and those how brothers and sisters. Now we must not have hate in our heart. I'm gonna write this down as if it's a story playing out. And at the same time, Mr. Newsom just lost his job at the factory. And he's a computer analyst. You see what I'm saying? I wanted to circumvent the narrative of pushing the melanated people off the land, which is the end goal, if not total eradication and enslavement. We don't want to draw upon that. Everybody has a little intel on some of that. I want to keep locked in to getting to the point where everybody's boarding the ships, the reverse of what actually happened. Now we have the disembarkment, the forced move pushed away, and then have that one family. We're indigenous to this land. Did you read about the mud floods? Do you know about what really happened at the Franklin House, now the White House? And the family having this conversation at dinner, and the father sitting there going, now, and being the calming factor in that one family. And the other families having these shambles breaking down all around them that pushes them, and even the indigenous family, the 5th or 6th family, that says maybe it wouldn't be too bad to start somewhere else. Now, that's not just the catch-all. I need to lay it down in a way that is, you know what I mean? And then the end story. I will not set it on here. I'll inform you. I'll call you. We'll have that conversation, brother. All right, about the end. That you're gonna sit there going, "What the? Why did you tell me that before we came on?" I need to get in here and see if anybody would come on. And I'm definitely gonna call Westside and Trauma. I'm surprised. I know they're busy. And I'm gonna. Oh. Okay, New York, Chicago. That will be that one scene. That's a grafted because that is going to lead to so much more, other than the congressional hearings, other than the fact that it's solidified, it's cinched with the reparations, the amounts in different states. Now the proof. How do you prove that you're an African American and your family was a slave when in the indigenous family, the conundrum? Family narratives based upon association. This just gives me a little insight into the peculiarities of as to the how and why. Now, the indigenous family having the vernacular not to be able to communicate with the other families, the constraints of being locked out because of the education system. No, we're not going to tell a story about the education system. We're not going to build on that. We have all that laying out. People now find out the truth of all that. Rockefeller and CIA and blah, blah, blah. We're not going to do that. But them expressing, because of the news, the reparations, the amounts, proving of who you are, and the indigenous saying, well, we're indigenous, but we lost the war and we were enslaved or indentured and many of our families murdered. So that would bind them to the reparations. Do you see what I'm saying? That we know that they want people to claim another classification without stating that. Now, that is very important. That's why I put the conundrum, family narratives based upon association, how they associate to the fiat for the dispersal or the removal. Another death, a young girl. We know it's been from Thor. We don't have to beat a dead horse in the head. It's not a gang movie. It's not a let's talk about Chirac and all that nonsense. This is keeping things in real time. So this is going to be heavy. But how they have to sacrifice themselves to believe that they can take this money and build a better life in another world when everybody's came here and given money to build a better life on our soil. And how certain parties, not all skinfolk, but kinfolk, in this very hard environment and time when things are about to drastically change, and how much time do they really have? Because all this is gonna lead up to the very end, which is gonna be holy shit. Lloyd, Wadu, what's going on, family? So, what do you think, brother? I'm gonna have to get a piece of paper and write all this down. This is so much
out of my head as you're saying, and not really even like thinking of input. I'm just trying to get it, see where you're coming from at the moment. And this is like it sounded a little bit too real.
The thing is to be able to deliver it, and that's why I'm seeking the assistance of everybody to deliver it in a way that is it's enlightening. It makes people question the reality of the situations, the agreements they made with themselves and others, and the betrayal. And some will see the betrayal when it's too late. They're already gone. You get where I'm coming from? You know, I've always stated, most people, and I've said it here just not that long ago, everybody's going to wait until it's too late and everybody's going to have something to say then. Where was you at when I was asking? You see what I'm saying? You know the old story for those religious. There's a flood coming, and the sun, the media puts it out there. This is going to be a bad one. And the ladies at the house and the police and everybody come by and says, you need to leave. It's going to be a bad flood. Board up and everything best you can. Take all your stuff to the higher floor. Oh, don't worry. I got God. I'm protected. I'm not even worried. Flood comes and she's on the second floor. So a boat comes, a couple of little, swampers. And, man, we can get you out of there. And, oh, no, I'm safe. I'm God. God's got me. This flood will go away. Okay, next she's on the roof and the helicopter comes. Man, we can lift you to safety. Oh, this is about the bad it's going to get. I appreciate it, but God's got me and I'm fine. Well, the flood gets her and she drowns and she's standing at the pearly gates and here comes old Pete. Hey, how you doing? Well, I'm ready to come to heaven. Wait a minute now. You want to come to heaven? Didn't you hear? Didn't you listen? But you don't know how to listen when God's giving you a message. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was faithful and obedient to God. Well, God sent the police to let you know to leave. And then he sent some people on the book. And you ignored him there. And then he even sent a helicopter to pick you up and you ignored him then. And there's no last minute. Every time you're trifling in your own despair. The last minute and thought was right when she took her last breath. And she could have been saved. Her God was delivering on his promise. And she ignored it. So that's the little one.
Yeah, go ahead. We got that in a minute.
So I'm gonna write this stuff. I'm gonna write it and make whatever fixes I can to get it right where, and I'm not gonna let people just read everything. I'm gonna let little parts, little paragraphs and stuff get read. Because I believe that this could be an answer for a lot of people. It doesn't matter what crayon color. Because you gotta remember, there are Black and Negro and African Americans who look like Bellskins. And they're in trailer parks, whether it be in Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, New York, or whatever. They're plenty. And they live accordingly, and most people, because of their ignorance, don't know no better. So it's going to play, it's going to be a very big part. And the churches, of course, are going to play the church, the mosque, they're all going to play a very, very big part. They're going to be the dinner table conversation. I've got to format this perfectly. I wish more people had input. I really, really do. It's not like I'm sitting on millions where I can go to this little thing up in the mountains and sit down, with my wine and my big Great Danes around the fire in the winter and just write all during the season. You know what I mean? No, I want this to be what we haven't done in a long time. I would like this to be done with everybody's input together. Because a lot of us don't know how to work together. We're not united. We're always looking for a savior. We're always looking for somebody with the right answer. We're always looking for the handout when we are all the answer that we need. Well, I hope somebody. I guess once we shut this down, I guess people will comment when it's uploaded. I don't know. I really wish people would have took this very serious. I'm very serious. I'm going to write. And any more input, when I give you the end, I know you're going to have a lot to say. Yo, dude, you know, I just know when I see the ending, and I don't want to tell everybody because somebody could take it. It could be mused in a whole nother movie. Trust me. And we're not going to do that. The ending is phenomenal. The ending came up to me first, and I was like, wait a minute. And I started looking at everything going, holy smack, I got to get input from people. I don't just want to write something and then, you know what I'm saying, and miss the mark. And still, the ending have everybody like, he could have done this. He could have done that. Instead of that, people could say it right now, and I could be like, okay, well, let me incorporate that. Let me look at that. Let me communicate this for the next few days with everybody as I'm embarking on this writing. Anybody that reads as much as I do, and everybody said it before, what about the book you've been writing for like the last 25, 30 years? I'm still writing it. It's like 4 or 5 sneaker boxes of letters for this. And I know it don't take but about a quarter of those papers to tell this story of my life, like a biography. But it's all there, you know what I mean? The thing is to practice writing in a way of 140 pages, maybe, where a story is from the rooter to the tutor, from the beginning to the end, and it builds up to a crescendo, and then we have the catalyst, and then we have, you know what I mean? And that's really what I'm reaching for. Like I said, you guys can come in, and you've heard me speak enough. You heard Ronald say a couple of things, and if you have an idea, a concept, if you want to share something, I will make a note of it. Whether it's utilized or not, it's something we can be taken from anything. I should have did this on my laptop, but I'm so comfortable right here. And I need to go out to the range and pop off a couple of rounds. I need to. I guess it's just me and you, brother. Before I leave, I'm gonna call you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the end.
Okay.
And we're gonna read later. I gotta go to the range, outdoor range. I gotta sight some stuff in. I gotta a little trigger time. You know what I mean? It brings a little clearness. Yeah, I have a notebook out there with me too. Well, some note papers to write down whatever's coming to mind, because this is very heavy on my mind to write this. Very. I wish I had a ghostwriter. Somebody could just say, hey, look, this is how it's gonna be, this is where it's at, and then those who could put some input and say, we got it. But if I was in New York, I know like 5 ghostwriters. Maybe I should call 2 of them. They would fly out here, just be writing down my thoughts. Be like Elijah, the book of Elijah. You know what I'm saying? Laying there in the big white. I want to write it. I want to write this. I need to practice. I'm always correcting every reading I do with punctuations, this, that, and the other. So why not? I understand parentheses, semicolons. I understand more now. And then looking at the world we're in, definitely the direction is going based upon old texts and old stories. I feel like I'm like in that last little death holler. You know what I'm saying? Like, while people are so comfortable in their inaptitude. And we're talking about very bright and intelligent, intellectual people. And it surprises me. But anyway, I'm going to call you. All right? I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Any last words based on this, brother?
I just want to hear the end now. I got my mind.
Yeah, it's gonna throw you. I'm gonna call you. All right. Thank you for everybody coming in. Ronald, can you get my email from Red? Definitely wanted to chat with you. All right, Gang Busy. I will definitely give it to him. All right, guys. Well, I was hoping that most of y'all would have joined. It could have been a great conversation. I'm really going to write this. I do everything I said I'm going to do. I know it's hard for everybody to. I think I don't know. I think it's hard for everybody to uh, put their foot in the pot. But I really wanted this to be all hands on. Yeah, King Benji. Well, an email. What, is it King Benji? Is if I remember right? Because I might have to fish way down. You might want to go ahead and send it right now when you get off. Okay. That way, when I call him, I can just go ahead and give it right to him. Matter of fact, let me see something. Facebook logged me out of my account, which I didn't actually have. I have Instagram. I can go to Facebook, and they're telling me to put in. That's just crazy. Let me go to Gmail. I got McAvee. I got Janet, original Lone Wolf. Oh, he's having a Zoom meeting today. I got Marlon, an Aboriginal Samuel, King Benji. Which one are you? King. That's it right there. King Benji, I got you, brother. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I got the right. Anthony, I got you, brother. I got your email, so I'll give it to Rhonda. I'm gonna call him now. All right, so I'm about to get off here, and I'm gonna take this with me, and I'm gonna embark on a journey of writing. I wish there was more input. I'm not gonna sit here and call everybody saying, "Hey, this is the idea." I put it out here. If you have an idea, something you believe to be beneficial, and you have a little research upon it, because I'm gonna have to do much more research. Share that with me. I'm definitely gonna do an open mic tonight. It's gonna be on a topic I was talking about yesterday. Yeah, I'm very serious about this. I'm serious about everything I do or say. With that, brother, you go ahead and sign off. I'm gonna go ahead and get some last words and get out of here. I already set a fire on other people's asses. I was really looking for everybody's input. I know it's hard. I know we have people who search the web and they see things pop up and they want to go and see what's going on. I want to write this. This is not just about the melanated people of this land. This is about the effect it will have on everybody. You'd be surprised how it may affect everybody. A lot of y'all know about certain chapters in our lives that are playing out. A lot of people have insight on some of the things that are going on. I know we're all the frogs in the pot that's being warmed, but I'm only expressing, hey, come on out of the pot for a minute if you want to get back in and give your input. Don't give up yet. And with that being said, I appreciate everybody coming in, ladies and gents. We'll see when I start writing and what I read to certain individuals. Hey, Reploid, do what you gotta do, huh? It's fine. This is very important. You know, when things come to me, I'm not gonna lie. There are some things I ignore because I just don't feel like people are ready. But this right here, I'm going to do, and I'm going to share it. I was hoping that input would be given because it will help to know that everybody had a stake and voice their opinions. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I know I look like I'm confused or something. Far from it. I'm just attempting to choose my words as best as I can, wisely. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I'm gonna go out to the range. It's nice. It's pretty decent today. And I'm gonna come back. Hopefully, I can write down some more bubbles and square, whatever, and then I can get to formulating this stuff where the story has a beginning and an end, and it's not drawn out, not beating a dead horse in the head. I'm not alluding to something that is going on yet, based upon the time. We can keep, like I said, surrealism, where it's kind of a fantasy, or no, not fantasy, but fiction based on a reality. If you get where I'm coming from, and I appreciate y'all coming in. Don't think I don't never. I always appreciate, you know, everybody who stops by. Well, until later this evening, I'll see you guys. Yeah, I appreciate you all, ladies and gents. Y'all have a great night.